Okay, so if you go to page 20, we're gonna rephrase this a little bit. And if you already solved this and you understand it, and some of you talked to me yesterday, maybe don't change it. I will just work it out the way I'm about to rephrase this. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith are purchasing a car, and then we'll scratch this and need to borrow. Right? They're purchasing a car for $27,500, and we'll just get rid of this. Right? So they're purchasing a car for $27,500. The bank offers, so we'll just fill in the blank there, right? The bank offers them a 4-year loan at 4.25, and they have a down payment for $5,000. So I want this question to have a down payment. And some of you I talked to, if you want to leave it, that's fine. But I need to obviously fix that. I forgot to. I made a bunch of changes before I went for my summer break, and I guess sometimes it didn't quite make sense here. So calculate their monthly payment. So the payment, if it's saying already $27,500, right? Be careful, sometimes you will have to add taxes. Right? In this case, it doesn't say anything before or after. So $27,500 minus the down payment, and you multiply that by a table rate. And that table rate is found on page 18 in your booklet. So I'm just gonna, some of you might need a refresher on this. So page 18 has this long chart here. Is it 4.25, right, over 4 years? So it's 2277. Okay, maybe 2277. That's the value that goes in here. Okay, and so I will just figure out what this is because there's a big chance I'm going to need this later on, right? So 27,500 minus 5,000, that's 22,500. Okay, so that's how much you're borrowing, and you multiply it by 2277 and you divide it by 1,000. So it's 512.33. Per month. We only find monthly payment in this course. We don't do semi-monthly, but it would be similar to this. How much interest? So it doesn't say first month or anything like that, so it's implying total interest. And so total interest, take the payment, multiply it by the number of years, multiply it by 12 months, minus the 22,500, right? So we'll bring this over here. So this ends up being 24,591.84 minus 22,500. And that is 2,091.84. That's how much you paid in total interest. That's the finance charge, right? AKA finance charge. The cost of borrowing, right? Nothing is free. Okay? And so this one, I don't know if you were able to do this, and I kind of left it. If Mr. and Mrs. Smith went with a 1-year loan, right? I'm going to highlight that. There's a 1-year loan. How would their monthly payment and interest paid change? Explain. You can use calculations to prove your point, but you don't have to. I wanted you to see that. So let's talk about the monthly payment first. Monthly payment would what? Would it go up or down if you go from 4 to 1? Yeah, Kayla's saying going up. It'll go up, right? Monthly payment would increase since you're paying it in a shorter period of time. Since the same amount is paid off in a shorter time frame. Sometimes you will hear the word term. So term is the same as time frame. So the monthly payment would increase. You can put an arrow like this next to it. Okay, monthly payment would increase. What about the interest paid? The total interest paid, what do you think would happen to it? Up or down? Down, right? It would go down. So total interest would decrease. And I will just say lower term equals less interest. Less interest. That's basically a given. If you lower your term, if you go from 4 to 3 or to 2 or even lower, you're going to pay less interest overall. Calculate the interest paid on the first month's payment. First month's payment, that is just lowercase I. That's the formula. That's little I, right? And little I calls for the loan times the interest rate, not the table rate, the interest rate, divided by 12. So this is the loan. This is the interest rate divided by 12. So 22,500, I'm just going to run it through just in case I made a mistake. And that is 79.69. So this chart down here is just to help you understand if this bar represents a whole payment and our payment is, let's go all the way up. Our payment is 512.33, right? We calculated that. This is lowercase I on the payment, right? So this is what goes in there, is the 79.69, right? So you're basically saying out of this is going to come out of your checking account, right? Boom, it's going to come out. But in the background, this much is interest and the rest is your principal. So you got to go 512.33 minus the interest you just calculated. And that is 432.64. Right? So these two always make up your payment. So basically, once you find lowercase I, it can help you to find a principal. Right? Maybe just put lowercase I here on the next to it. So this to help you to just to help you understand that this is what's happening here. When you find this, you find the interest portion and the principal is there. Okay. I think I'll do. I'll pause here. I think. Let me see here. I'm just going to do the math with. At the bottom of this, I will say work on page 4 and 5 car loan review. Okay. this will give you a chance to upgrade your study sheet if you need to. So it looks like this, right? Financing car loan review questions. And it compares, like, basically what I want you to start thinking of is you're going to be consumers, you're going to be buying stuff, and you may have offers from different banks. If you go to a dealer, car dealer, they usually work with banks. So they will say, hey, we've got 4 banks here lined up for you. Which one do you want, right? Which offer do you want? And so remember that there's different years or terms and different interest rates. So you're going to have to be very careful when you do the math that you pick the right table rate to answer it, okay? So read carefully, and we'll just work on this until the end of today's period. And there's also buying used privately later on. So pages 4 and 5 are to be done right now, and it's homework if you don't finish it, okay?